Hello and welcome to another Warrior Mindset episode, debrief style, where we try to find things off the internet that are useful instead of just doom scrolling. All right, so let's go learn. Let's get on with it. All right, I want to start out by talking about anxiety and particularly anxiety in men. And let's start it off with looking at this article here that I was sent. And I want to just kind of use this as a framework. All right. This is from Men's Health, 5 Common Anxiety Symptoms of Men. Um, Here are some things. Anxious men fear dating, right? It says men with social anxiety disorder are more likely to fear dating and are more commonly single, separated, or divorced, right? Divorced. Okay. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. I don't really want to get into how everything's changed in the world. Anxious men may abuse alcohol and drugs. For sure, a lot of overindulging in things. Anxious men may seem angry. This is another one. And then anxious men have strained relationships. Okay. Anxious men obsess over status. This is one I really want to kind of dive into here, more so than anything else, right? So I know a guy. We all know a guy. And so where I'm going with this, I recently had someone in one of our sparring classes, and this was a woman, not a guy, and she was quite she was battling with some anxiety getting into the flow of sparring, and she had to kind of just go with the flow for a few rounds and not really fight per se. We in a sparring class, we don't fighting. We're more like flow sparring feeling. So one of the rules is like if someone is working a combo against you, you let them work the combo and defend yourself, and then you can kind of volley back with your own combo, and then they'll vice versa, or whatever. And then some people like it's closer to sparring for some people. It's all good. Anyway, it's one of the first times that this person has done that, and she really was struggling with anxiety. But by the end of class, I felt like kind of overcome some of that. Now I've had some conversations with people about sparring, mostly men, and sometimes they're men that make sort of grandiose claims about some things they've done in the past, right? So, like, I'll have there's one dude in particular I'm thinking about. This one dude would tell me about stories of him getting in fights in college and in the fraternities or whatever he was in, and how they used to fight and do all this stuff, and how he'd done a couple of fights, and kind of, I guess, making me feel like he was legit or whatever. And if this is the first time you're listening to one of the Warrior Mindset podcasts, you'll know that I own a gym. I teach martial arts, teach kickboxing. It's one of the things we teach, and been doing it for a decade. And when I hear stories like that, and I am in the class setting, and someone's telling me some things like that, I often realize that it is coming from a place of anxiousness in these people, that they're struggling with where they think they should fit, and they want that status of fitting in, of being someone who's done this sort of thing, even though they've never really done it. And they'll ask things like, they'll, like, this one guy watched the class, and he's like, hey, can I ask you a question about your sparring class? Why are they going slower than I thought they would? Why aren't they hitting harder than I thought they would? And I'm like, well, that's because it's sparring class, it's training. And he's like, yeah, but I thought they'd be hitting a lot harder and stuff. And I'm like, nah, when you're training, when you're practicing, you don't really beat the crap out of each other, because you'll run out of training partners pretty quick. And also, no one will want to come and do that. It's just not how it works. Yeah. So anxiousness in men, I mean, people, it's not just men, it's people too. It's men and women and all sorts. this sort of like obsession over placement or sharing these real, or I'm going to call them unreal, whatever stories of things they've gone through in the past. They sort of like really want you to know these things, and it's weird. And that's also why I love like things like this, because like martial arts and stuff, because you really can't fake it. Like once you step on the mats, like you can either do it or you can't. It's not like you can just keep talking about it and then uh you just get the skills or whatever. It's you either have it or you don't. And another one is the how this sort of status comes into play with in this world is like and if you practice martial arts, maybe you've experienced this, or if you are this person, stop doing it, where let's say you're sparring, and then in the middle, like you're sparring with someone, and maybe they're as good as you, maybe a little bit better or whatever, but you'll stop and you'll explain like, no, see, if you hold your guard like this, or whatever, then you can do that. Or when you kick, make sure you like stop teaching, unless you're the instructor. But if you're the instructor, stop teaching in the middle of the round and train. Don't worry about where you are, your status in the round. Like just finish the round. They're not paying you to teach, right? You're there as another person to spar with. Um, if they're beating you, then whatever. It's sparring. It's not a real fight. So we have this Instagram reel, and what is this guy? Fit to Serve. I don't really know. Fit to Serve one, I guess. You've probably seen this guy. He's pretty funny. He's like a a major dad bod CrossFitter or whatever. He makes a bunch of funny reels. But this one kind of uh got to me a little bit, and let's watch some of it and then we'll talk about it.
What?
I know there's short legs anywhere, dude.
What's up, man?
Put on a little weight.
No.
Tell you been trauma
Just a
eating.
little-
You were a
just a
skinny
little
little
bit.
nip in high school, dude.
Yeah, well, things change.
Yeah. How many swirlies did I give you?
I don't know, man. Like 2 or
You got a few tattoos, kind of like toughen up.
Yeah, I
rough
mean,
around
it
the
helps a little bit, dude. Yeah.
Fat boy surf company.
Yeah.
They got the fat boy, right?
It's not actually like fat people.
You still wear
Just
tidy
fat.
whities?
No, dude, no.
You still have that wiping problem too, huh?
That's a condition, dude. I told you about that.
You just
He's
nobody taught
funny.
anybody how to wipe for
It's not about
generations.
teaching someone how to wipe.
This is where you work out. Why do you work out here, man?
Because I like my privacy when I'm exercising, dude.
It's a playground. You're a pervert, aren't you? You grew up into a pervert with
It's
that
not
mustache?
just
So the point of the post is like running into someone who used to be your bully when you're older, right? And we all have that fear, and um, there's a real anxiety in some people about this sort of thing, about running into someone later in life that you went to middle school or high school with, that used to give you a hard time or whatever. And there's a great story from George St. Pierre. What my opinion, greatest of all time, the GOAT in the UFC, George St. Pierre, where he was bullied as a kid, and that's why he started martial arts. Like his parents, his dad or whatever, was a Kyokushin karateka or whatever, but put him in, and then he went and went up UFC or whatever. But then later in life, as a UFC, it might have been after he'd won a title or whatever, but he was in and he was legitimately good. He ran into his high school bully, and when he's telling the story, if you haven't heard it before, everyone's expecting him to be like, and then I whooped my bully's ass or whatever, but he doesn't. He said that this bully was like, kind of sad. He'd been unemployed or something, or had a shit job, whatever. And he just kind of wound up feeling bad for the guy and was like, oh man, damn, this is where you've ended up, and look what I've done. And he knew he could just, take the guy out like that if he needed to or whatever. But that was his sort of triumph, over his middle school bully or whatever. And George St. Pierre was bullied, like legitimately beat up and stuff in school. You can look up the whole story or whatever, but that's a real one. But this one, we're talking about anxiety and stuff. And, it was weird. I went to a small school, for elementary and middle school. And, um, we were small, so we all kind of like took turns bullying each other, which is weird. But I was picked on for a while by a couple of people, and by someone who, I had considered a good friend for a while, who kind of like sided with the other people because they didn't want to get bullied, and wound up bullying me as part of the thing. And and sometimes I have thoughts back about, well, what if I run into these people again or whatever. And I've run into some of them as adults, and it never quite works out like in this video, but this is definitely sort of an anxiety that some people might have about running into an old bully or whatever. And I wanted to share that with you. If you have that kind of anxiety, let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story and see what you have to say about it. All right. We're talking about anxiety and stuff, and anxiety can, what's the word I'm looking for? Metastasize. That's not the right term, but it can come out of us in different ways, right? And sometimes in young people, young men or whatever, it comes out in an aggressive way, right? So I was sent this, and I think it's 30,000 almost likes. Not quite like, universally viral, but it's got a lot of views and stuff. But this is an interesting thing about preemptive communication and thinking through how you want to deal with this stuff. And this guy's a genius for handling this situation. And I guess he's like a coach or a teacher or whatever. And the post here, sometimes the lesson presents itself in the middle of it being taught. It takes community to keep a culture intact. That men's accountability has to be one of the abilities that is honed, nurtured, and appreciated. Right. So what he's talking about is, these kids, and I'm saying that they kind of are exuding like some classic external symptoms of anxiety or whatever, in whatever situation they're in. But he's using an accountability culture, right, to sort of counteract some of that stuff. And that's a lot of martial arts, a lot of living in the martial arts and walking that path is a lot of this kind of stuff is built into it, and why I think it's so great for young people. But let's watch and listen.
My man up here that's talking paranoid, you got my full attention now. So you wanted my attention, and I've had it. No, you right here. I know your name. I want to disrespect you. Dog, listen to me. I'm a 42-year-old man. I'm a father, and I used to be about, no, I don't look 42. That's shocking to you, baby. Black don't crack, but that's okay. For 1983. I've been around a long time. And what I don't tolerate is any level of even perceived disrespect.
Yeah.
But what I can control is how I respond to it. Now, at this stage, I can say, you're better than that.
Yep.
So be better. Why underachieve? You can just overachieve. Why make a B when you can just make an A? Why go to class late when you can just be on time? Like, for instance, if you don't turn in a paper, if I'm your coach and you have missing work, you got to explain to me, why do you feel like you're above turning your work? Because now, how do I trust you to do what you're supposed to do in the game? You can't do what you're supposed to do only. That's the easy part. Turning work in is the easy part. You may fail it, but if you turn it in, I can work with effort. I can work if you try.
Right.
If you turn in all your papers, I can change the grades. I can't change no zero. Same thing in sports. If you go out there, coach may tell you, you're going to mess up full speed.
That's where he brings it home.
Why? Because you're messing up anyway. So you might as well do it full speed. I don't have to coach your effort now. I can teach you better on your skill set.
Right. And that's something that if you're on a team and you're more interested in your status, in your reps, in where you fit, in your wins, and your losses, and your gear, or whatever, and that's what you're focused on, and then they're out there on the field playing, or your other teammates are out there working, and then it's your time to step in. Something happens to one of them and you take their place, or it's your time to step on the mat or whatever, and you haven't been paying attention. You got to take that. You've made it about you. You've got to take that time to then go out there get up to speed or whatever, or learn what's going on, and then go out there and you are not playing, or you are not performing at your highest level at that point. You know, it's the same thing. Like, I think this is a great way where martial arts really helps, because you have to pay attention, even if you're sitting there. You know, you're in class and other people are rolling, and you're just sitting there like not paying attention, not learning or whatever, and it's your turn. You're not going to know what's going on, right? And you're letting everyone else down, right? So I love this. I love this approach to this sort of thing. And you know, you can even use this tool in your daily life in terms of um, combating anxiety, right? Being prepared, right? Even in the slightest, just being prepared, because you are being accountable to what you're doing. You're accountable to your team. You're accountable to your family, yourself, your other friends, your organization, whatever. By being prepared, you will have conquered some of that anxiety. I promise. This is such a great video. All right. Listen to some of this. I've recently gotten into this guy, Eric Paulson. He's got a great YouTube channel. If you're a martial artist, great stuff. And he's a historic, early pioneer in mixed martial arts, right? A catch wrestling guy, old kickboxing guy, karate guy. Brought it all together before the jiu-jitsu explosion that we have now in the US and in MMA and stuff. He's an originator, right? And this is an old interview. It's 13 years ago, but I came across this, and he's got a little section here. Maybe shifting gears a little bit from anxiety or whatever, but we're talking about being part of an organization or teaching and learning.
Room around my bed, my other room, my living room. I'll sage my dog. They try to grab light wherever they can, and that's why I'm selective. Before, I used to roll with everybody and anybody. Plus, the older you get, I think you have to be a little more selective with some of the people that you want to roll with.
Do you feel
he's talking about the energy you bring home as an instructor or whatever, or being in class and stuff, and being selective with who you train with and stuff. And he's on a different level than most of us. He's on this very high pedestal. People seek him out and to work with and stuff. But he's talking about bringing that energy home from people. And I'll be honest with you, it's true. Like if you're trying to instruct people and they're not paying attention, or one is particularly aggressive or whatever, you bring that home with you. You really do.
feel that you can see the energy or the auras of people?
I feel it.
You feel it. You don't see it, you feel it.
Well, I also look at people's eyes. I can read a lot by someone's eyes. Intention. Athletes are athletes, but some people, as you know, that still do martial arts or play or whatever, into martial arts to compete, they go out, they go to nightclubs,
Yep.
they party, whatever, strip clubs, you're attracting a negative energy, or you're surrounded by a negative energy and it latches onto you.
Yeah.
And so, I got guys, he brags about going to the strip clubs all the time. I'm like, great. I don't want to roll with you. And he's like, if I do, I want to beat you up. And it's not because he goes to strip club. It's because there's something about this. I mean, he thinks it's funny, but
yeah,
something about this energy. He's not adhering to what's the Bushido code.
Yeah.
The way of the warrior, training, staying clean, clean mind, clean body, clean heart. That's what I believe in.
Our martial arts.
So this is interesting in that he's curating a space, right, for him, for himself, for his other students, and he's serious, right? He's serious about it. And these other people come in and they're not so serious about it. Maybe they're like naturally talented or whatever, but they're bringing in this energy in, and it doesn't fit, and he doesn't want to train with you. He wants to beat you up, right? And I feel that we have a member, or we've had more than one, but we have a member who is in the gym, and they're not right. They're not like, they're not mean. They're not bad. It's not a bad person, but you can tell they're struggling with some things in their life, like whatever that, don't want to go into details of what that is, but they're clearly struggling. and they're grumpy, and their personalities changed. And a long time member, you don't want to just eject them because you got like, I don't like you today, you're out. But like they bring that energy into the class, and it's a real thing. It's a real energy in the class that affects everyone, right? It's a real thing, and you have to learn to deal with it.
Arts a form of spiritual training for you, or is it completely separate?
It is because how do you feel when you don't roll for a week?
I feel like I need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's part of your life. I mean, a lot of people that train and stop training, their lives change and their attitudes change. And, this keeps you balanced. It's mind, body, spirit. Martial arts keeps you balanced. I mean, for you to come in and just roll and train and you leave, your endorphins are up. You feel 100% better about yourself. Some days you have good days, some days you have bad days due to your biorhythms. And it doesn't matter. The biggest thing more than anything is consistency. The best students in the world are regular night students because they're here all the time. They don't get ready for a competition and train really hard and then just disappear for a month because they don't have another competition coming up. They train consistently and they're learning all the time.
I want to talk about that because I see it. I'm going to pick on jujitsu culture. I see it a lot. They actually have a term. These sport jujitsu guys, they will call you a casual. Like they'll be like, I'm a competitor, and then there's casuals, and there's like become a differentiation between what he just said, a regular night student and a competitor. And this is Eric Paulson talking about this 13 years ago, about how the regular night student is the better student, the one he wants to train with more and be around, because they're always when they're there, they're focused. They're not there because they want to then win a tournament. They're not going to be there for a while and then there's no tournament for a while and then they take some time off. It's bullshit. They are not just casuals, and that insults me when I read that, when someone's like got competitors and casuals, and it's just ridiculous. And he made me really think about that when what he was just talking about, and heed his words, man. He's talking about a bunch of stuff in this, and a lot of intangibles and things like that in the world, but that is what this stuff means. He's talking about the Bushido code and living a life of Budo, right? It is a way of life. It is a way to maintain your mental health. It might seem contradictive to people who aren't in this world, but it truly is, right? And I'll try to remember to link the full interview up. It's a really great interview. There's some really great instructionals in this interview too. Eric Paulson, look him up. All right, the late great Anthony Bourdain. I'm a huge fan of Anthony Bourdain, and I've known this for a while, but I didn't know it when I first discovered him doing his food, his I forget what it was called. Jeez, but his he's a chef, like who Anthony Bourdain is. But he's also a jujitsu practitioner for a long time and was legit, honestly. And he did some competitions and stuff, but he's pretty well known to be a jujitsu practitioner. I don't really know what he got to. Blue belt, maybe. I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me. But I want to read this. I will never be a black belt. I will never successfully compete against similarly ranked opponents half my age. I will never be great at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There is an urgency to my training because I'm sure as shit not getting any younger or more flexible. I'm certainly not getting any faster as I head down the highway on my jiu-jitsu journey. The likelihood of the wheels coming off the car grows stronger every day. When I recently got my blue belt after over 2 years of training, it was, other than the birth of my daughter, pretty much the greatest day of my life. That belt doesn't mean I'm any good at jiu-jitsu, by the way. It just means that I worked really, really hard at something. And that, presumably, I suck at it just a little bit less. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Anthony Bourdain for medium.com, October 4th, 2025. Was he a casual? You'd say, no, he did some competitions. Whatever, man. Like, that is the mindset, right? That's the mindset. And if you're, anxiety, whatever we're talking about, this is how you help cope with it. He had a substance abuse problem, right? It helped keep him level. Just a little sidebar. I am a huge Minnesota Vikings fan, and JJ McCarthy, young man, 22, been through a lot in his short career so far. Missed an entire year, knee surgery. He's missed like 5 games so far this year, and he's back. This is a little video they caught him 2.5 hours before the game, just sitting on the bench meditating. He's known for following stoic philosophy and spouting that sort of stuff. And if you listen to any of his press conferences, you can hear him really sharing that type of advice and stuff. And here he is, just getting ready, getting in his skin before the game. And a lot of people give him a lot of crap and stuff, but young man, 22 years old, battling, I'm sure, his anxiety. It's impressive. I just wanted to share that because I'm a fan of the Vikings and JJ McCarthy, and this is a huge reason why. Okay. Another one here. This is from the Daily Stoic. We're going from anxiety to stoicism, but they can kind of go hand in hand. But this is a post I saw recently. Francis Ford Coppola. I love his movies. I don't really know much about the man, but I'll just read it. It's about Francis Ford Coppola opens up about how philosophy has inspired his life and career. Particularly, I lost my wife of 60 years, and it was sort of devastating. I imagine it was. But there was this Marcus Aurelius quote that really lifted me. If you lose a loved one, honor her and, in a sense, try to be more like her. Then she will live in your actions. My wife was very good, and I just try to be like her. If someone was alone or sick, she would call and be comforting to them. I'm not like that, so I started to do that. I know some guys my age who have no family, so I call them to check in. So I keep my wife in my life with Marcus Aurelius' advice by trying to be more like her. Ryan Holiday, big fan. So that's sort of honoring someone, but like, this hit home for me because I sort of do that with my father. I lost my father a few years ago, and just the way he thought about the world and the way he gave me wisdom and approach things. I just try to embody. What would he do? I often ask myself, what would he do? What would he say? And he hasn't been wrong once since he's been gone. He hasn't been wrong, and he's always led me in the right direction. And I think this is a good way to, losing your wife has got to be a huge area to just fall into anxiety and loss and stuff. But to just use their memory, use who they would be through you is another great way to channel some of this anti-anxiety living. All right. 2 things and we're out of here. You've now reached the Gene's gripes session of the debrief. 2 things here. This one is the urine the piss drinking guy. Okay. And I got into I'm trying not to do this, but I got into a back and forth for a while over with these people on Instagram, and they kind of drive me nuts. Let's get bigger. No. And they drive me nuts. This guy, I'm not even going to play it. I'm not going to use my channel to put his audio on there. But this guy, certified health nut, I've been following for a long time. He is the original son your butthole guy. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. But in this post, he's talking about urine therapy. And in this post, he's talking about like he's rubbing it on his face and his skin and stuff, and he's saying how it helps. But the logic here is that the urine has stem cells in it. And now, granted, I didn't make the most intelligent starting salvo into this argument, but I said urine does not, in fact, contain stem cells. This is all confused voodoo bro science bullshit. And maybe I was a little aggressive there or whatever, but he's always putting stuff like this, and it just irked me. Now, you Google it on your own. Google it. Urine can. But the thing is, before I get to that, the people, it's like, as a mama who is breastfeeding, it does not surprise me that our bodies can create healing medicines for ourselves. You know, and he literally responded to me, read the NIH report on the first page of urinetherapy.com. Like, no shit. A website called urinetherapy.com is going to be pro wiping urine on your face or drinking it. Now, this guy drinks it. There's lots of older posts where he's literally talking about drinking it. So he drinks it, rubs it on himself or whatever. He pees in a mason jar, lets it ferment for a while, shakes it up, and does his thing. Now, you can Google it. Urine can have stem cells in a laboratory setting using laboratory tools. Yes, but not by pissing in a mason jar and drinking it. This is just not how it works. All right. So I will read. This is my podcast, so I'm going to do what I want. No, drinking urine will not give you stem cells. While urine does contain a small number of stem cells, they cannot survive the journey through the digestive system. The practice of drinking urine, also known as urotherapy, is not supported by scientific evidence and poses significant health risks. Yes, just like drinking your piss. Why drinking urine is ineffective for gaining stem cells. Stomach acid and digestive enzymes. The human digestive tract is designed to break down biological material. Stem cells, like other organic material, would be destroyed by the stomach acid and digestive enzymes before they could be absorbed into the bloodstream. Targeted delivery. In a lab setting, scientists have isolated stem cells from urine and cultivated them for therapeutic use. This is a highly specialized process where the cells are then injected or transplanted directly to the site of injury or disease. Simply drinking urine does not replicate this controlled delivery. That's straight out of Google, y'all. And there's like 30 or 40 people where they're like defending the guy and how stupid I am. Like I said, it's my podcast and put what I want on here. This guy's a kook. Kook. Last thing I want to talk about. I'm a business owner. I've owned my own business, worked for myself for over 25 years. I own a gym. I used to have a partner, had a lot of anxiety in terms of running the business and dealing with people. I get it. I do too. I have some anxieties. But there's this particular area. You have other professional relations that have their own jobs and stuff too. One of the areas that really gets everyone is in negative reviews, right? You're going to get some negative reviews. My gym has them, not from me, since I've bought my partner out and been running the gym. They're all positive. They have some older ones from contract disputes, basically. Like, they used to do full-time we do month to month. They had year-long contracts, and nobody reads their contracts or terms. So they get into a contract 8 months in, they want to get out. They got to pay for 4 months or whatever to get out of it. And they don't like that. So they'll make a bad review and tell them you're a crook or whatever. Cause heaven forbid you hold someone to a contract. That's most of the whatever. But this one in particular, in my gym is we have classes. The fitness part is based around CrossFit. So we have CrossFit style classes, although we're not affiliated. And then we do martial arts, right? We kickboxing, karate, and some jujitsu, and they're classes. I mean, everybody's been to a class before, particularly a martial arts class, or a CrossFit class. You can imagine how it works. We have those. But then if you are a full member at our gym, you can come in 24/7, right? You have a key fob. You can come in and use the gym after hours during non-class times, or you can use it during a class time. You just can't interrupt the class. Okay. They love it. So I have experience with 24/7 gym. I have experience with people calling me at 3 a.m. because they locked their shit in the gym. But I'm a member of Gym Owners United Facebook group. This is Two Brain Business, I think, Chris Cooper stuff. If you're in the gym industry, wonderful organization. It's a great Facebook group too for gym owners and stuff. So this person, you all warned me it was inevitable, but I kind of thought it would be years from now for our first 1-star review. Why do I feel personally attacked? Okay. And the review. In all honesty, it's a 1-star. The gym atmosphere, everything was great up until I believe to be the owner who came up to my friend and I out of nowhere and almost seemed to want to start a fight. Face all red because he thought I was looking to rob them of $30 because I felt let my friend in to see the gym since he's been looking to start his fitness journey. Could have went about this a whole different way, but anger issues, maybe. I'm not sure. Blah. And then this person, as the gym, whatever, like responded directly, he explained, like, I talked to you, whatever. You can read it here. I personally spent 20 minutes outside of staffed hours on the phone helping you set up your day pass, blah, blah, blah. It's taken us over a decade, 11 years of grinding, saving, and sacrificing to create the gym we envision. Protecting it and the community inside it is something we take seriously. Our members consistently give us positive feedback for creating an environment that feels safe, welcoming, and fair. We hope you recognize that one day or whatever, and blah. And there's a lot of like, because again, this is a gym owners Facebook group, and there's a lot of like back clapping and stuff in this. And I get it. I kind of side with her. It's annoying. Like, we have the 24/7 gym, and I've seen the security cameras where people have snuck their friends in. I just send them a note, email, or in some cases I've had to talk to them. But what I want to share with you, I don't care about the whatever. It's just a review on Google, but was my response. And again, this is me on social media responding when I don't normally do that. Really. But this one in particular, this is me. You're not going to like my response, but this isn't a good move publicly. Don't defend yourself in the reviews, fix their issue publicly, or at least offer a fix. You come off looking pretty unhinged to the uninitiated. No one cares how hard you've worked. And my point was more like, think about a review. Why do the reviews exist? And how do you use reviews, right? You use reviews because you're looking to going to try a new service or whatever, and you're looking to see what other people say about it. That's the context, right? So they're going to probably believe the person posting the review over you. So like, you have a chance to make yourself look good by saying, man, I'm sorry you had an experience like that. Email us, let us know, what's going on. We'll give you and your friend a free class or whatever, Like, what, I don't know, I'm just making shit up, but like, or don't do anything at all. Just let it sit there, whatever, and let people assume things. Because coming on there and arguing with someone like that, you just look more, because the person is accusing you of being sort of having anger issues. And then you come in and you're like, we've worked hard for this gym. We struggle, and, you should respect it and stuff. And, they're not going to join your gym. You're not going to, it's like no one's opinion has ever been changed over an argument on Facebook, right? It's not where people go to actually listen and learn. So, this one person responded, spot on. As an owner of almost any business, but specifically a service-based business, we have to take the high road. When I was first starting out in mid-20s, that was very hard for me to do. Yes. Yeah. So you can still get back at the turds out there, but just in nice professional ways, the way it makes you feel, but really gets under their skin. Yes. 100% agree with you. But then this person responded to me, the person making the post, I feel really bad for you and the others that have said, nobody cares how hard you work. No exaggeration at all. We had roughly 80% of our members bring up how obvious it was that we worked hard on our gym, building it physically and the community inside it, not only during their first week or so, but we still hear this weekly. I agree that in general life circumstances, that's 100% accurate. The community within your gym, false. So yeah, my response to that was like, you asked you specifically asked why it feels personal, and I think you have exposed why it feels personal in the way you're responding and arguing with me. Um, you come across defensive. That's not bad because yeah, I get it. You want to protect your community. I mean, yes, you love your members and they love your gym, and that's how it goes. But I'm not here to just argue, give you my perspective, take it or not, doesn't really matter. You don't. It's a Facebook group. You don't. Who gives a shit, right? You decide whether you want to apply it later or not. But like, my old business partner. I'm not picking on him, because it's not just him. I think he felt kind of the same way, and then I knew another local gym owner. I have to edit that part out. Yeah, so I've also seen other sentiments, which is like, how come our members won't do more to help me promote my business? Right? It was another post I saw. It was like, we work hard and we do cool things and we give them a free t-shirt or whatever. And you don't ever hear or see them making a post about our gym at all, ever. Like, why don't they help us? They should help us. Like, and this sort of comes from the same area, I think, where you just have this sense of entitlement in that you feel like you've created something and other people, they're paying you to be there. You're providing that service, and you can never forget that. Goes back to what Eric Paulson was saying about rolling with people. Never forget that they are paying you to be there, and you are there providing a service to them. Never forget that. Stuart Brower taught me something that's really taken the edge off of the anxiety of worrying about members and stuff, is that on a long enough timeline, everyone leaves, right? So it doesn't matter how much you love a member or are friends with that member or have trained that person. And we train black belts. Like, you go all the way up. On a long enough timeline, they're going to leave. I left my school where I trained to be a black belt, and now I have my own school and I teach. I'm a black belt instructor. I have a black belt under me. I'm not training daily in my old dojo. I mean, we're still very close and friends, but I'm not in there every day like I was. So on a long enough timeline, everyone leaves, and you have to remember that, right? It just doesn't matter. You have to remember what you're there for, what you're providing. That's sort of from the perspective of a business owner, or a gym owner, or whatever. Anyway, this was supposed to be all about anxiety. It's all kind of intertwined, but that's how these debrief episodes go. If you enjoyed this one, please check out the other one. Make sure it's linked up here, and let us know in the comments what you think. If I'm a big idiot, I am a big idiot, or if you enjoyed it, or if you have something you want me to check out, I would love to see it. Let us know. Hey, give us a like and subscribe. We love you. All right, out.